Have you ever had one of those moments? A moment where you've planned everything perfectly, where you've done everything right, but life's challenges just seem to have a different script for you? A moment where you look up at the sky and just want to scream, why? What if I told you that sometimes the smoke from our greatest disasters is the universe's way of telling you to trust the process? Stay with me, because this inspirational story I'm about to share might just change the way you look at the fires in your own life. It begins with the fury of the ocean, a ship, a testament to human strength, tossed around like a child's toy in a bathtub. And in the end, the sea always wins. When the chaos subsided, there was only one survivor. One man clinging to splintered wood with nothing but the vast, unforgiving ocean around him. By some miracle, he washed ashore on an island, a paradise that felt like a prison, a place where finding hope seemed impossible. Every single day, he'd walk to the edge of the water, his feet sinking into the wet sand, and he would pray. He prayed for a ship, a sign, anything, but the only answer he ever received was the monotonous sound of waves crashing on the shore. Days bled into weeks. It was a true test of his faith and resilience. Hope, once a burning flame, was now just a faint ember, threatening to go out with every sunset. He realized no one was coming for him. The motivation had to come from within. He had to save himself. So, with blistered hands and an aching back, he gathered wood, leaves, and vines. He built a small, crude hut. It wasn't much, but it was his. It was his victory over despair, a testament to overcoming adversity in a world of wilderness. It was his home. One afternoon, he went searching for food, venturing further than usual. When he returned, a pillar of black smoke was rising into the sky. His heart stopped. He ran, his feet pounding against the sand, his breath catching in his throat. His hut, his home, everything he had painstakingly built was engulfed in furious orange flames. He collapsed to his knees. Everything was gone. All his work, all his hope turned to ash. He finally broke. He looked up at the sky, tears streaming down his face, mixing with the soot, and he screamed. He screamed at God, at the universe, at what he thought was his fate. I trusted in God's plan. I kept my faith. And this is what you do? You take the one thing I had left? How could you be so cruel? Exhausted, broken, and utterly defeated, he cried himself to sleep on the cold beach, with nothing but the smell of wet ash around him. He was woken up the next morning by a sound he thought he'd only ever hear again in his dreams, the loud, deep blast of a ship's horn. He shot up, his eyes wide with disbelief. There, anchored just off the shore, was a ship, a real ship. The crew rescued him, pulling his weary body from the island that had been both his tormentor and his savior. On board, wrapped in a warm blanket, he found the captain and asked, his voice hoarse, How did you find me?" The captain looked at him kindly and replied, "It was simple. We saw your smoke signal." The man froze. His mind raced back to the fire, the anger, the despair, the feeling of utter abandonment. The smoke from his burning hut. The disaster he had cursed was one of life's great unexpected blessings, the very answer to his prayers. It was his salvation. What he thought was the end of his story was in reality the very thing that helped him in finding purpose for a new chapter.